Stop and think is everyone's responsibility. When you stop and think, it ensures the safety of you and those around you. Taking time to stop and think before you perform a task helps you to understand what's about to happen and empowers you to make safe decisions.
That morning, me and Nathan loaded up the trailer with crushed rock, heading out topping up road crossings with crushed rock. On that day, we already done one load. We come back into town and we put another load on and headed out back out to the site, and that's when the accident happened.
Well, we'd just come back into town. We'd just finished topping up a crossing and we had to come back in and load up the trailer for another, it was a really cruisy day, to be honest. We were just coming back in, loaded up the trailer, and then we're heading back out to the job site to finish the job off what we were doing. And yeah, no, it was all relaxed. There was no time pressure or anything like that for the day. And we heading back out to the job, and you just get in your, well, I suppose like Smithy and I were having a bit of a conversation beforehand, and then we're in that stage of the conversation where we both just went quiet and we're just thinking about other things as we're driving along. And next minute I know I hear Smithy saying to me that there was a dog on the side of the road, and yeah, one thing led to another, and yeah, I woke up and we were, yeah, in a different situation.
I remember the accident is that I remember a dog in front of the truck and then waking up in emergency in Ballarat Hospital.
I didn't even know we hit a power pole at that stage. I remember waking up and there was no windscreen left in the truck. The cab of the truck, like the roof, was at the height it was at, and I'm thinking, how did this happen? Like I vaguely remember before I went out, the truck going over, and there was a crossroad, a yellow crossroad sign, and I remember seeing that coming straight from the front windscreen. And then I went out just before we hit that, but I remember hearing the shattering glass of the windscreen and coming to, and yeah, so I can't even remember the power pole or anything like that. So
my understanding was that the truck had, the driver swerved for the dog. The truck tipped over into a drain, slid for 50 metres, hit a power pole, and then landed on its all fours.
My main focus was, at the end of the day, to see if Smithy was all right, because he was still unconscious at that stage. So to try and get him out of the truck was my main focus at that stage, yeah. When I come to, he was like unconscious, so he come to because I was yelling at him and sort of giving him a bit of a shake while I was still in the truck, and he come to, but he was in and out of consciousness the whole time. And he actually got his phone out and rang Bally, and then he got on the phone to Bally and he didn't even know where he was or what he was doing or anything like that.
I was out on track at the time and I received a phone call from Rob Smith. Actually missed a couple of calls and then realised that Smithy doesn't normally ring me 3 times in a row, so I answered him and realised straight away that there was something wrong, and he progressed to tell me that they had an accident in the truck. And so when I asked him, you know, first question always is, are you okay? Yes, Nathan and I are both okay, we're out of the vehicle. From that point onwards, you know, I said to him, well, where are you? What assistance do you require? And I realised quite quickly that Rob was disorientated. He didn't know where he was. So I asked him to put Nathan on the phone. Nathan got on the phone and was quite shaken as well, but continued to tell me his exact location, etc. The ambulance and etc. had been called by the local farmer, and so I understood all that was happening.
And he said just to yeah, jump in the ambulances and head to the hospital, and yeah, he'll deal with everything from there onwards and not to worry about a thing. The last time I seen him was at that stage, the first ambulance had turned up, and I said to those people that I was okay because I was walking around the truck and everything, and I said, take care of this bloke, he's been in and out of consciousness. So they grabbed him and threw him in the ambulance, and the last time I seen him, they had him laying down in the back of the ambulance, and he kept on yelling out to me, Nathan, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, don't worry about me, mate, you just worry about yourself. They did an assessment on me and threw me in the back of the other ambulance, so that's the last time I seen Smithy, and I didn't talk to him for about 2 days, until about 2 days after that.
When I woke up in Ballarat Hospital, I was very dazed and confused, didn't know where I was. The staff had to reassure me several times what I was doing there, how I got there. I kept on dozing in and out of consciousness until I got to a stage where I was stable and reality kicked in, that I was in an accident, and then the procedures of medical staff looking after me was going on. And then time lapse, I don't know how long it was, my wife and daughter turned up at the hospital, still not knowing what condition I was in. I was in traction, couldn't move, all I could do was move my eyes, until my wife and daughter turned up, which was, they were very distraught and seeing the way I was. They reassured me that I was okay, besides the severe bump on my head.
From there, I progressed from where I was, which was probably half an hour from the accident site, out to the location. But having spoken to the guys and understood that they were both out of the vehicle and upright, and emergency services had been called, I wasn't all that concerned. So I've arrived on site, could see the truck sitting about 100 yards down from where I could pull up, and wandered down to where the vehicle was. And to be honest, at that point, I hadn't seen the guys, but the shock when I walked around the front of that vehicle and literally seen the damage to it and how the roof was crushed in on it and everything, it was really a complete shock. Like how we hadn't lost somebody in that vehicle was just beyond me. It was quite emotional. It was one of them things where you don't like to see that thing, whether it be someone you know or you don't. So it was quite hard with respect to these two guys. Nathan's actually my nephew as well, so that was, yeah, difficult as well. We got the guys to the hospital. Rob then from there had to be ferried to Ballarat because he'd sustained both shoulder injuries from the seatbelt and also a head injury. He'd hit his head on something in the vehicle, and they were quite concerned about that, which turned out to be quite a severe head injury.
Didn't get much sleep that night because I didn't know what was happening, because he went to Ballarat that night, and yeah, I didn't even know if he was still alive at that stage. So
the ongoing issue then was Rob and understanding his injuries and how serious they were and how we were going to manage that.
My injuries were, I suffered a brain injury, acute brain injury as they call it, on the top of my head, with all the swelling went down my right hand side to the back of my ear, and torn ligaments and tendons in my right shoulder, which required surgery, which I had surgery on the 3rd of April, just after Easter, and I'm in the process now of the rehabilitation and stuff like that, doing physio and all that sort of stuff, so could be going off another couple of months at this stage.
I knew straight away, as soon as that accident occurred, the first question the police said to me was, did you have your seatbelt on, how fast were you going? And I said, I definitely had my seatbelt on and I wasn't going any faster than about 90 kilometres an hour.
What do you think would have happened if you hadn't put on your seatbelt that morning?
I'd hate to think, especially in Smithy's circumstance, I'd hate to think, because he would have been all over the cab. Like I was, at that stage I was on the ground, so I don't know where I would have went myself, but I know that if Smithy himself wasn't wearing a seatbelt, he would have been, I don't think he would have been here today to tell the story, put it that way, yeah.
The guys are definitely more appreciative of and do wear their seatbelts in the trucks in particular, way more often than what they used to, even as passengers, etc. They've seen this now and understand that how important that is, because we all hop in our utes and cars and things and put our seatbelts on and don't think twice about it because it's what we do. In the truck, sometimes it's not so second nature. So that's been an improvement, simply because these guys, you know, were obviously greatly reduced due to the fact they were wearing seatbelts on at the time this accident occurred.
Waking up and seeing one of your work colleagues in the passenger seat next to you limp like he was, like I had to look at, and thinking that I've just killed a bloke, was the worst thing I've ever had to deal with in your life. Yeah, it's not worth it. If you jump in the truck and you see one of your work colleagues not wearing a seatbelt, don't go anywhere until he puts a seatbelt on. I won't now, no way. Because that was one of the things, because we were in the gang truck and there was a back seat, my mind that night was just going over and over and over thinking, was there somebody in the back seat? What happens if there would have been somebody in the back seat? Like, it just, yeah. And so, yeah, seatbelts are a very important thing as far as I'm concerned, yeah, especially after that.
I like to say to the guys out there who aren't wearing their seatbelts, take this for an example. Seatbelts do save lives. It saved my life, it saves Nathan's life. Going by the photos and the way that truck ended up after the accident, it was seatbelts that did save our lives.
Just ask yourself 3 questions. What am I about to do? What can go wrong? And what can I do about it?